Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to talk to you about the side effects I've been feeling from my HCG injection. So on Tuesday, the Tuesday before my insemination, my nurse at the fertility clinic gave me an HCG injection, and the purpose of that is to trigger ovulation. They call it a trigger shot. So once my doctor determined that there were follicles mature enough to proceed with ovulation, they triggered me basically to go into ovulation so that I could inseminate the following day, just so they could time everything as closely as possible and hope that the timing is good enough for me to get pregnant and have the sperm fertilize my egg. So the actual shot itself for me was not painful. It wasn't fun, but it wasn't painful. It was quick. It felt like, just when you get your blood drawn, a prick. It didn't take long at all. And then I felt fine that day. I didn't notice any changes. However, the following day, after I was inseminated, I did experience light cramping throughout the day. I also experienced very light nausea on and off throughout the day. And initially I thought, oh, could this mean that something is happening in my body? And could this mean that perhaps this is a sign that it worked and like the sperm is fertilizing my egg? Or eggs, because there are two. And I was really, really tired. So I thought, oh, like maybe there's some stuff happening here, blah, blah, blah. But of course, I did some research and I looked over a lot of different articles and blog posts. And I noticed that a lot of women who received this HCG shot actually also experienced some of these same symptoms of nausea. Oh, I also had actually a light headache, and it wasn't consistent. And I'm not, again, I've said this before, I'm not a big pill popper when it comes to these things. I do have to take medication for my thyroid every day, but other than that, I don't typically take medication unless I have a fever or it's really like intolerable pain. But I did have a light headache on this side of my head, like on and off. For like a couple of days. So definitely the day of insemination, and definitely the day after that, I had a light headache on and off throughout the day. It didn't stay and it wasn't terrible, but it was there. So yeah, again, so light headache, nausea, bloating, cramping on and off. So those symptoms really persisted for about 2 days, but they got lighter and less frequent as the days went on. So now I'm on day 3, and so far, it's about 10 o'clock in the morning, and so far I haven't experienced those symptoms again. I was also pretty tired. So on the day of insemination, I slept for a few hours, and I was like really exhausted. I also woke up early that day, so I thought, like earlier than normal. I even woke up before my alarm clock. So I definitely thought, it must be because it was a big day emotionally, and I just thought, okay, you're just tired. But then the next day I was really exhausted. I got a good amount of sleep in terms of hours, but I was still like really exhausted. And same thing for last night. I went to bed super early. I was really exhausted. And that's one of the symptoms too of the HCG. Is it gives you pregnancy symptoms. HCG is basically the hormone that your body makes and releases once you're pregnant. And that shot, the trigger shot that I received, was a pretty, large dose of HCG to help me ovulate. So I did experience some like pregnancy symptoms, but not because I know that I'm pregnant, but just because of the actual shot, which can really play, it's like a mind really play with your head, especially when you're just like so hopeful that you're going to get pregnant. It's, it really plays with your mind, and sort of gives you a false hope, so that's not good. And what I actually did, well, let me backtrack a little bit. So I have a friend of mine who's she didn't go through this process. She's married and has a child, but like she's told me that not to test early, like to wait as long as possible to test to see if I'm pregnant. And actually that's all the more true in this situation. I think because of the HCG, if I were to test now, first of all, implantation likely wouldn't have happened on day 3. By now, it's probably not likely that would have happened. But even so, moving forward, I'm really pushing myself and really trying to stay strong and not testing and doing an early pregnancy test before I'm supposed to with the doctor. The doctor will give me a blood test in 2 weeks to see if I'm pregnant, but I'm trying to hold off because apparently it can take some people several weeks for the HCG to really be completely out of their system. And if I were to test right now, it might show that I'm pregnant, but really I'm not pregnant. It's just the fact that I received this shot a few days ago and my HCG is high and would give me a false reading. So I don't want to have any more mind because of this. So I'm really going to try to not test before I have my blood drawn by the doctor or the nurse at the doctor's office. July 5th is the big day. You'll be watching this later because I figured a couple of things. Number one, I'll be traveling over the summer on and off. So I want to have some videos set up for when I'm away. And secondly, I will be getting my results July 5th. And, depending on what they are, I may be emotional for many different reasons. I may be emotional if I am pregnant or if I'm not pregnant. And I'll need some time to sort of deal with that and, move forward with next steps. So that's the reason why you're watching this much later than when I'm actually getting tested. Anyway, so that is it for me. So if you are someone who has received a trigger shot in the form of HCG, just keep in mind that you may be feeling some symptoms, some pregnancy symptoms, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, your IUI worked. It doesn't mean it didn't. It doesn't mean anything, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to discourage anyone. I'm trying to stay hopeful myself. But it doesn't mean that you're pregnant or not pregnant. It's just the shot, messing with your head and your body and your hormones. So anyway, good luck to anyone who is on their journey right now. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.